Welcome to Catfish Weekly. I got a couple of dandies in here tonight, Patriot James and Mark from Bill of Rights Fishing. We're going to have a great show tonight, folks. So sit back, grab you something to drink, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and be sure to like us on Facebook. Patriot James,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
so glad to have you in here to help me out tonight. How you doing?
I appreciate the invite and glad to come in. Glad to have Mark in here tonight. Let's start this off by saying God bless America, guys, and God bless each and every one of you and your families.
Absolutely. That's a great way to start the show. Mark, I love your mask, but you don't have to wear it tonight.
Oh, I don't?
No.
Y'all feel safe if I take it off?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
sir.
feel pretty good. Since
Okay.
you're in Oklahoma and James is out in North Carolina and I'm in Missouri, yeah. The only thing that I can say is with you being in Oklahoma and me being in Southwest Missouri, one of these days we need to get together and go fishing.
Hey, that sounds like a plan.
You know,
I bet we can find. I've been to. See, you got a lake over there right on the edge of the border. What is that? Real property lake. It also borders Arkansas.
it's not Grand Lake of the Cherokees, is it?
Well, that's on my side more or less. But y'all have a pretty famous lake that has a lot of brownies in it. That's it's in Missouri, on the Missouri-Arkansas border, but real close to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I don't
been
know
there
what
one
that
time.
is. I just live a little ways from Truman and Lake Ozark.
Okay.
I got Lake
I'll
Ozark,
figure it out
Truman.
sometime, and I'll figure it out sometime, and
Heck yeah. I
That's
got Lake Ozark, Truman, Palm de Terre, and another one that's all within driving distance. So, that makes it pretty good. You know, they're all roughly 45 minutes or an hour from me, but works out really well. So we're able to get out and go if I ever get my boat put back together where we can do it, but it's going to have to cool off before that takes place because it's just right now it's too hot for this old guy. So
That's
We
why
got 51 people in chat tonight.
that's awesome. I know you're fishing a lot of nights, Mark.
Yeah, it's when it's cool.
Yeah, that's when I'd have to do it. And that makes it pretty tough. James, you do any night fishing out there?
I love night fishing mainly because of the traffic and stuff during the day on Lake Wiley and a couple of our local lakes. But let's introduce Mark, Bill of Rights.
Absolutely.
Mark, thank you for coming in, my friend.
Hey, my pleasure.
Been
This is my
watching your
first time.
videos for a long time. I guess the first one was when you started rebuilding your boat. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed your laid back style of video and fishing and stuff. And I thought this is one to watch right here. So I appreciate what you do for the catfish community myself.
Well, I appreciate you watching. I really enjoyed doing that boat videos, and it's been a work in progress since, but it's got me on the water quite a few times so far.
There you go. What kind of boat was it that you rebuilt?
It was just some old Bassmate. It's a 14-foot Bassmate that had, it was a 78 model and had a 78 model 35 horse engine on it. And when I got it, of course, anyone that's watched it, it was the floors rotted out and the transoms rotted out, and the motor fired over is what got me started going ahead and do it. I said, if the motor fires over, I'll work on this thing. Little did I know I'm put $2,000 in that motor. So, it's one of those I couldn't afford to stop.
Yeah.
So, but luckily, I've reaped my rewards back out of it. So I'm happy I did the job, but I'll never do another one.
Oh yes. Fiberglass work's a doozy, ain't it?
Yeah, I had that stuff everywhere. Trust me. Up my nose and my eyes, and sleeping with, feel like I'm sleeping on glass. Yeah, I wasn't the most professional at how I used it, was keeping myself clean. I'm kind of old school.
But when it comes to fiberglass, I don't know about you, Lyle, but I ain't seen too many people that are real professional with it anyway.
No, I watched a guy one time adjust a carburetor 40 years ago on a car. Those days you set the emergency brake and you adjusted the carburetor with it in gear, get the right thing. And he forgot that it was in gear, and he throttled that baby up, and it run up, hit the bench in front of him, and there had a vise, and the old deal comes down, the handle on the vise went right through the thing, and it was a brand new Corvette. And they had to grind all that fiberglass out because you couldn't get parts for it and repair that in the shop. And I worked for a Chevrolet dealership in those days, and I never forgot the smell of that crap as they was grinding it off and filling it in, grinding it off and filling it in, and it was brand new. So they had to paint it right there instead of take it to the paint shop because it was full. And this they just unloaded this thing and it wouldn't idle. And he forgot that he had it in gear, and he just reached over and hit that carburetor and throttled her up a little bit, and it just lunged forward and hit that vise. It was the damnedest thing you ever seen, I tell you. I was so glad it wasn't me.
That hurt your feelings. That sure would.
Well, it almost got him fired.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, what's one of the main lakes that you fishing on down there, Mark, or over there?
The closest one and the one that I, fished a lot in the wintertime was Oologah Lake. It's just north of Tulsa, probably about 30 miles. And I switched over to Skytooth Lake lately because I could catch them in the summertime there. I was the place I was fishing all winter and having decent luck just went south on me. And I'm limited on that lake where I can go because it's a big old wide open lake that runs north and south. So with a little 14-foot boat like mine, I need to stay in the creek. So now up at Skytooth, there's all kinds of places I can go on that lake, without, a whole lot of fear of the big waves and the pleasure boaters. So that's where I've been kind of hanging out for a little while.
That's now, do y'all run skipjack down in your area, or do you even have it, or what? I know your bait is you mainly use a lot of brim and stuff like that, but I didn't know if skipjack run in your area or not.
No. Okie catfishing, he lives down probably about 40 miles south of me. He did catch one below the dam at Gibson over there, but I have never seen a skipjack in these waters here, so I don't fish with them because I did buy some frozen one time and thought, man, I'm going to tear them up. And I've never caught a fish on that stuff here.
Yeah, they're not used to
me. So I stay with bluegill and shad, and even have used some chicken gizzards and hearts. And I'm starting to go after sand bass, which is a white bass, and start trying those out too. So, but bluegill's been working good for me though.
PD, thank you so much. We appreciate it. The deal with using skipjacks, if they're not natural to the water, I'm not saying you can't catch fish on them because you can, but you have a lot more success with something that's naturally already there.
Yeah.
At least that's what I found. They're not natural any longer. They used to be natural bait in Lake Ozark and Truman before they put the dams in, but now they can't get in there. They've all been caught out or ate up or something, and nobody ever catches any skipjack because they can't get through the dams. And you can take fish, some of them up there, and catch fish, but you'll have a lot greater success with shad, bluegill, stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So it's about the same for Missouri as Oklahoma?
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Now you say using sand bass. Now is that declared a sport fish?
I don't know if they declared a sport fish or not here. It probably is, but here in Oklahoma, you are allowed to use legally caught sports fish, game fish for bait. So now I checked with 3 game rangers in Oklahoma, and the first one said you had to only bring back the carcasses after you've taken them home. But the other 2 that are local to me said, no, that rule doesn't apply to people using them for bait. So I can go catch a bass, a crappie, or a sand bass, or any other fish that, as long as he's legally caught on a rod and reel, I can use him for bait.
Right. and counted as part of your creel, like largemouth bass. I think here in North Carolina, we got a 5-limit creel, and you got 3 over 14 inches and 2 under, and that's part of your creel. But here, they don't want you to separate the head from the body. They say they might need it to measure the fish.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
those
And I had that trouble with the one. They didn't want, you cutting them up anywhere on the lake. But like I said, I think it may be that in Oklahoma, you need to check with your local game ranger for that lake and see what their feelings are on it. So, but
Yeah,
I'm good with Oklahoma.
They don't mind you to fillet the sides off of them or whatever so they can throw a tape measure on there. But when there's a head that big around, I would say that's a legal size caught picking bass or something.
Yeah.
But a head fell off of that one after I took the fillets off of it.
K&B says Blue Wrench Lives Matter. I find that extremely funny. A lot of that has to be interpreting the regulations, not only through the game warden or the DNR, whoever it is. In each state words things a little bit differently. So you kind of have to play their game to figure out what's going on. You got a green something there.
I got a green water bottle. I was letting everybody see the words behind me. If I put it up here, it looked like somebody shot me in the head. Got to play with a green screen. I'm new at this mess.
Yeah, you get used to it after a little while. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm going to run some videos behind it, so I got to learn how to do that. Lyle's going to have to tell my dumb country tail how to do some of them tricks.
We'll figure it out. I promise you, we will figure it out.
As far as technology, Mark, what kind of cameras and stuff you're using out there doing your videoing?
Right now I'm currently running a GoPro 6 and a GoPro 7, and from time to time I'll use my cell phone, for doing little vlogs and doing little, the scenery shots and things like that. Now I've upgraded to a iPhone 11, so things like that are going to get a little more improved with that, and I can get better zoom and actually get better stabilization for doing pan shots like that. So that's what I'm currently using. Probably about a year or two ago, I got wireless mics and all this stuff going on, and I thought, you know what? I feel like a rigged astronaut trying to film a fishing video, and I said, Catfish Dave doesn't have to do that, and a few other these big guys, they got just simple one cameras. I said, I'm not going to go through that mess any longer, and I just switched. Now I do like having the 2 camera views, so I'll stick with two GoPros is what I've been using.
But now that iPhone 11's got a better camera than any GoPro ever made.
Yeah. Now, if it wasn't for the trouble that I have with, maintaining space and doing all that stuff, I would probably use that more. But also, I've lost one in the lake before, and that isn't really good. So it's easier for me to just keep that thing on my hand and do little slight bogs, like looking at my bait or this or that, and then put it away so I don't lose it.
Right.
Well, I got to tell you, we got a Canon, a real nice big Canon, and it takes. I know people believe in their phones and stuff, but you get a quality big camera, nothing takes video like they do. And mine got wet, and it cost half as much to repair it as what you can buy a new one for. And that really chaps my behind, that they want to stick it to you for half cost of one to fix it when all they got to do is slip in 2 boards. Just sell them to me, dude. Tell me how to do it. I'll make it happen. But they won't do that. But phones are so advanced now, and the quality of the imagery on those are fantastic. But a big camera, there's just nothing like them. The quality that they produce, that's what they're made to do. Now I've got GoPros and stuff, and I do like multiple camera angles, but the reason for that more than anything at all is in case one of them quits, you've got it on another one. you don't lose it all the way around. And I think that that's a big benefit to filming with more than one camera, whether it be a phone or 2 GoPros or a big camera and a GoPro or just what. But now I don't have any of the newer GoPros. Mine are all the older ones.
Yeah, I got the 7 Black, and I like it all right. It's just the chip in it just don't hold enough space. The batteries don't last no time. You always have to worry about changing it out. I try to use it to catch the takedowns, and it seems like I get it running, and then next thing you know, your SD card's full. You got to go in there, either delete it out and start all over. So I got an iPhone 8. I run 2 iPhone 8s. One is the camera and one is my phone, and I run them both, use it, and it's actually got a better camera than my GoPro. So and you can just let that phone run. You just let it run and run and run and run and run, and then you can catch your takedowns and stuff.
Yeah, the older GoPros, you couldn't run big SD cards in them because they wouldn't write fast enough, but the newer ones do. And what I do is hardwire them in to a cigarette lighter and run a cord up to them, and then you never have to worry about the battery.
Yeah.
Right.
I use external batteries plugged into
That's
mine.
another great way,
And you can put those things, use them on a looping setting that loops you either 5 1-minute loops or 4 5-minute loops. I run mine on the 4 or 5-minute loops. So that means if you're running for 8 hours, you're not actually saving 8 hours of video every time you go on your phone. You're just it's rewriting over 20 minutes, and then when you click on it, after say when I catch a fish, then I'll click on it and stop it, and it'll only save 20 minutes. So that's one way to preserve your cards. I run 128 cards.
How many times do you forget to click on
them? Well, let's just say that my biggest fish, I don't have all of it on video. Because
that wouldn't happen to me. I'd forget to do that, and about the time you get the gravy shot where you're getting ready to dip net or something, it'd go off, and oh man, I was always afraid to loop them. I was always afraid that I'd forget to click on it and we're run continuously. Oh man,
I've done it enough. I've gotten used to it, so I'm pretty good at it.
You've been doing this a while. How long have you been doing? How long have you been doing videos, Mark?
I think I first posted in February of 2016.
Right.
I actually kind of started building a little plywood boat, and it was one of my first series. And then I did a gun build and some other things, and then I started watching some YouTube videos on fishing rivers, and these guys were catching huge catfish. So I thought, well, I'm going to go fishing down on this local creek down not too far from my house. And the first time I went, I caught I caught a 10-pound blue and a 10-pound flathead. And I've been hooked at doing this catfishing since. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I got to tell you, I watch all your videos when I see them come up, and I'm glad that you're still doing fishing videos and that you started doing them, because they're extremely entertaining to me, and I relate because we was talking before the show, you go fishing at night because it's so hot, and believe me, if I was doing it right now, I would be out at night because it's so hot, and as things start to cool off, I'd start being in the sun more, but until they did, it would be early mornings, late at nights, or overnight.
Yeah. That's what you have to do. I mean, if I knew I could catch a big old fish at 2:00 in the afternoon, I'd be out there. But I don't know it for a fact, so I'm gonna stay when it's cool.
I'm on board with that. How about you, James?
Yes, sir. Definitely on board with that.
Mark, do you have a cover over top of you when you're in your boat?
I haven't put a bimini top on mine. I've been trying to decide whether I want to do it. Because I've been thinking more and more about replacing my boat with a bigger boat. So I figured, I may just save to do all my really fancying up of a boat on a future boat, because I know that I don't want to use this one forever. So
exactly. Yeah, I understand. James, do you have a Bimini top?
Kind of in between on that.
Yeah, Ace Catfishing wants to know, Mark, how is your boat coming along?
It's finished as far as the restore, but
Right.
I now recently this last week it somehow got to where it's not getting gas, and I had to troll back to I didn't get to fish on Friday. I think it was Friday or Saturday. I had to troll all the way for about 2 to 3 miles off the lake. So, so I'm in the process right now of either taking it to the shop or figuring out why it's not getting gas. So, but other than that, it's doing great. I've got it set up perfectly for running 7 rods, which is what I'm allowed here in Oklahoma.
Right. Check your bulb. We have found, and I've heard a couple of people say your pump bulb, they're breaking inside, and that little plastic piece is clogging up on the other side and let you get enough for the motor to idle, but not let you get enough gas to run down the lake. So that would be one of the first places I check is that bulb.
On their pump bulb, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can buy those at Walmart.
Yep.
Yeah, I've actually had to replace it once already. It had that happen. So I may go and see about getting another one, because that may be it.
I carry an extra one on the boat just in case. You just never know. Trying to see if we got any more questions. All right, your tackle that you use. I noticed that you use a little bit of bait casters and spinning reels. And tell us a little bit about your setup and why you choose to fish that way.
Well, it started, obviously with like old bass rods and things like that, just that I had when I was a kid, fishing 30 years ago, and found out real quick that they're little, undersized for fishing for big fish. So my next step was, whatever's cheap at Walmart, and a lot of your spinning reels and, rods like that, or, like I bought the Hog Seeker and I liked it. And I bought another one that, I don't remember the name of it, but the reel went out on me, but I just replaced it with one of those Quantum 80s and love it. So I like my big spinning reels. They're clumpy, big old hard to use things are inefficient, but I still like using them. But I was asking a buddy, iFish, Victor over there, to recommend a bait cast reel for catfishing, and he turned me on to that Cat Max reel from Bass Pro Shop. So that was the first one I got, and then I went to these, those cheap Okuma. I got the 200 series and 300 series, and I forget the names of them, but they're them cheap black ones, that you can get for like 20 something bucks. And just because I don't like to put a lot of money into my equipment, because I'm really hard on it, and I'm surprised at how well they worked. They're not as smooth as my Cat Max, but they still get the job done. So my equipment's really not the highest end. I did buy a couple of Okuma Avengers, spinning reels, because they have the clicker and the drag system you can do on them, even for being a spinning reel. And they were like $49 each, and I really enjoyed those.
Well, Mark, it's all about getting out on the water and fishing. You don't have to have the best equipment. Most of my stuff, I've only got, I think, 2 reels that I actually bought new. And that's an old bass reel that I've had for 25 freaking years. And that last rocket I bought to put on my Burke rod. The rest of them I've got out of pawn shops or bought used from other people. Now, I do buy the Abus, but because you can rebuild them forever. They are reels. So I don't mind paying, a little bit more even for used ones for a reel that I know that you can send off and have rebuilt, or a local tackle shop or you can rebuild it yourself. So check your pawn shops and places like that, and you will be surprised at how many people at tax time will go out and buy them 4 or 5 nice rods and reels, and then by June or July, when they need to pay the power bill and get a burger to put in their belly, everything's going to the pawn shops.
Yep.
Yeah,
I need to do that. I need to do that because I hadn't thought about pawn shops. A lot of people, they pawn off a lot of those, and you can usually find decent equipment in there. I'm all about using cheap stuff. It gets the job done.
Mark John Patrick III says, is your fuel line collapsing or is the vent working on the fuel tank?
Now the fuel tank I have doesn't have a vent screw on it. It's just the old plastic one you get at Academy. But I noticed that I was able to pump my bulb up, and there's been times when it runs fine when I can't even tell that it's pumped up. But and a lot of times I don't even mess with pumping it up. Most of the time when I go out, I don't even have to pump it up. But when it died, I started pumping it up and got it pumped up. But it would barely start and barely run, and then it would. But you couldn't give it gas, to really move or anything, and then it would just die if I put it in gear. So
yeah.
I know it's a gas flow, but like I said, whether it's at the fuel filter or but I'm glad y'all mentioned that pump bulb again because
absolutely, it's sure something to take a look at. Team Walker's Cat says at the end of carp season, pawn shops are full of abus.
They go right, they are.
Oh man!
Yeah, I don't know if y'all got
around here.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all got carp pay ponds or not. Wherever y'all at, we have a ton of them around here. That's the pay lace, but they're for carp. Have been around for 50, 60, 70 years, and they'll talk their buddies in. They get their tax money back. Oh man, you ought to come down here and join us at the carp lake. They'll go buy all brand new rod reels, stands, and all. And realize that ain't something they want to do every Saturday night to sit on the carp pond and listen to everybody cuss and fuss and fight, and they'll be in the pawn shop. So, yeah, we can rack up by going to the pawn shops.
Heck yeah, man, that'd be a good deal. Kentucky Catfishing wants to know what size line do you run, and do you use braid or mono?
I'm currently running mono. I tried some braid for a while, and I had a lot of issues with it getting kind of tangled up, around the hook and all that stuff. And it just became more work. And it was easier to break off when I did get hung, but I just prefer the mono because I'm fishing a lot in structure, and I'm afraid I'm gonna get broke off too easy with the braid. And I run typically 25 to 30 on my main line. And I switched to 80 pound for my leaders because I had a video where I had a fish break me off when I was using 50 leader, and he broke it off right at the hook. So I just wanted something a little more robust because I'm fishing in a lot of structure where I fish.
Well, it looks to me like the last several videos I've watched of yours, you're out there amongst the trees and stuff.
Yeah, I mainly fish up in the creek areas, in the stumpy creeks, because that's where I've had most of my success from. And, I had really been going up in the shallows and the really stumpy, stuff. But now I'm kind of out in the where the main channel of it is, and, where there's like 30-foot water, and I'm trying to stay right on the edge line of that. So I'm fishing 10-foot and 30-foot. At the same time.
Need to get you some of them to throw out there and float around, float your baits around out there amongst them trees.
I'm going to get me some of those because I really like the idea of throwing bobbers out. I had a guy send me a subscriber named Terry Dees, made me 2 of them. Now they're not like completely like those, but they're kind of getting. He put where I could put one of those little things you break and wired around in there.
Yeah.
And I really want to see one of those in action with a fish pulling it around and taking it down and all that. I like the idea, and there's a lot of times I could use a float, so I'm gonna try to do a little more of that this year coming up.
William,
go ahead.
William Winterstein says that he had a plastic tank that was sucking air on inside the tank on the suction line, and he had to put a hose clamp on that to fix it, and of course, which means you had to pull where the unit went or where it went down inside, pull it out to get to that. And that brings back an old memory from working in garages again. Back when they first come out with diesels, back in the late 70s and early 80s, they didn't know that there was a difference in fuel line for diesels and ones for gasolines in those days, for sure. And we had a truck come in one time that unloaded off the thing, and we sold it. It come back about 2 days later, the full tanks of fuel, and it wouldn't run. And we fooled around with that thing, and I ended up finding the problem was on the little short piece that was on the sending unit was gas hose instead of diesel, and it would suck air.
Yep.
And it would quit running once the fuel level got below that on the sending unit. So the guy could run 100 or so miles before it dropped down. Then it starts sucking air, and it wouldn't suck fuel. And I fought that thing. And finally I ordered a new sending unit, and I couldn't see anything wrong with it. I put a new sending unit in it on one tank, and it fixed it. So we ordered up the other, and come to find out, I sent them to St. Louis to the GM training center in those days, and that's what they found. It had the wrong. Well, I had no way of knowing that, but I knew changing it fixed it. So I can see where he's coming from with that, and how that would be something that I would definitely want to check, because I think you just unscrew a couple screws, you pull that up out of there.
Yeah, and some of that cheaper line, I've had gas line before. We have to use a piece just to get you home or something, and the inside of them will separate, and the line looks perfectly fine, but it's the inside that's collapsing on it. So,
That's right.
Somebody wanted to know, do you like anchor fishing or dragging baits better?
Anchor fishing, absolutely, because I'm lazy. I'm a lazy fisherman, and every time I try to drag or suspend, I get hung up like crazy. The places I fish are full of stumps and all that, and every time I get hung up, I just say, that's it, I ain't ever doing that again. So Betty Jean wants to know, said, if you're not fishing for catfish, what other fish do you like to chase? I started out a bass fisherman. I love to bass fish. I want to get better at crappie fishing, and I like sand bass fishing. I wanted to start trolling just because I want to get bait. But bass, I've done a few bass videos, and I probably still will do a few here and there, just because my buddy Ron, he's got a nice bass boat, but he doesn't catfish. So whenever I need to go, I want to go fishing, and just relax in the back of a boat and not have to worry about trolling motor and all that stuff and anchors and everything, I just go bass fishing and just wing it out there. Now,
the buddy Ron, is that the guy that was with you the other night in your video where you had to beep him a little bit?
Yeah.
I enjoyed that so much because that reminds me of Cindy and I in a boat together.
Well, buddy Ron doesn't realize he doesn't think about, he might see a camera on me, but he doesn't really grasp the concept that I'm filming.
Yeah, I understand. It was funny. I enjoyed that very much. He seems like a really super guy to be in a boat with, too.
He really is. He's a really good guy. I used to play golf with him a lot, years ago. So I've known him for quite a while.
That's great.
And he just caught his first, he's never caught his biggest fish. Now, we said 11 in the video, but we figured out it was 13. So, and that's the biggest fish he ever caught. And I was hoping that he'd finally catch a big old catfish sometime and get that catfish fever. So we'll have to see what happens.
It's extremely fun having a great partner to fish with, somebody that shares what you want to do, and it makes it a lot of times it's a lot safer. I used to love to fish by myself. Cindy and the kids won't let me do it anymore. But if our boat moves, she's in it, so it doesn't really matter. I got a partner always. And a lot of times I think it's safer for people to have take someone with them.
Yeah, every once in a while when I'm sitting there, with all those hours I spend on the lake, I'll sit there and think, what would happen if I had a heart attack?
Yeah.
Or, if something happened to me that I couldn't control, I'm kind of stuck. So
yep,
I get that, but I figured I'll start worrying more about that when I get around 70, I guess.
I relate to that also. James is a kid in the bunch, I think, tonight.
Tell it to my freaking body.
Yeah.
Somebody took an ugly stick and wore my tail out today. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, dude.
Are you going to tell us how old you are, James?
56.
56? Holy, yeah, you're younger than me. I would have thought you were a little bit older, but
Man, thank you.
Somehow, some way, I got a feeling that I'm the oldest guy in the group again.
Well, we'll keep Mr. Dockery off of you for right now.
Up with that. I gotta tell you, James, and I may have already told you, I had quite the conversation with James this morning, and James is like a lot of people I get on the phone with. You think it's going to be a little. James and I was on the phone for an hour and a half this morning, and I'm okay with it because when I got done, my sides hurt so bad from laughing at that crazy thing, and the whole time he's talking crap about poor old Katie, and I know she's sitting right there beside him. I don't know what keeps her from beating him to death.
I'm waiting on the obituaries to come out, and her back there smiling said, I told him. I told him. Well, Mark, when you're down there out there on the lakes, say if you're the first time you said you changed and went to a different lake and started trying it and see how it would work out for you, what helped you make the decision of where you wanted to start first as to try to catch them catfish?
Well, I've had so much luck in the creeks. That's the first place I run is the back of a creek, a stumpy creek. And then I always work my way out from there. And I'm kind of was old school about how I found fishing spots. It was my plan was if I fished 1,000 spots, I'm going to find 2 or 3 that are good. So go about that business. Then I learned that, Navionics can speed that process up a little bit. So I'm starting now to pick my spots based on, Navionics, like where the channel edges are, and maybe where sunken bridges and structure and all that thing are, and then go to those spots first and work from there. So that's kind of the tactic I'm trying to use now anywhere I go, especially on a new lake, because knowing those little things is gonna help. Got to help, instead of just pulling up somewhere and throwing it. Now, if I didn't have my Navionics or something like that, I'm always going to go find the stumpy creeks if they have them, or the 10-foot water. Depends on the lake though, because here in Oklahoma, it seems that 10 foot is good to me. So,
I also rely on Google Earth because you can go back in the timeline, and I like to look at the years that we knew that we've had droughts and the water was pulled way down in the lakes and stuff, because a lot of times you can find structure that you probably rode by every day in that boat and never slowed down to take a look. That might be a key place for you to stop and try. So don't forget your Google Earth. It can really help you out.
That's cool.
See, I didn't know that Google Earth. I didn't know you could go through a timeline with them and go back. So that's interesting information, because I use Google Earth to find boat ramps and stuff like that now, but I never thought about going back in time, because there are definitely times when the droughts that you can find that. Because when you said that, it reminded me of I went on and saw a video of that bass trophy lake that we fished this year, and the lake was just way down. And I noticed a place where they had set up a bunch of tires, in a big old huge circle for structure down there. And I bet that thing, now I know where it's at because I saw an old video on that, what that looked like. So that really does come in handy. Knowing that kind of stuff.
If you go to Google Earth and go up there to the top of the page, you'll see a thing that looks like the sunshine emblem and a couple little emblems. Touch each one of them till you find out which one, and then you can scale it back, and it'll take you through different timelines, and it'll take you all the way back to whenever they first started shooting video or pictures of the stuff. and you'll get to see times of flooding. You'll get to see times of that. It's like if you're looking to buy land on the lake or something like that, I would look at the times during the flooding season and say, I might not want to buy that piece of property because it always floods out.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
I agree. Boys, I need to cut in here for just a second.
Do what you got to do, my friend.
Chris Stagman made a post in chat that last week somebody called me Santa Claus. Chris, that was James. You just have to understand. You consider the source and go on. And then Chad, our D said that Dockery was probably giving me his Christmas list. So these guys are having too much fun in it. They're all welcome L-Stan in. So thanks for coming in, L-Stan. K&B says Dockery said he's going to catch up with you one day. Dockery will never catch up in age with me. Katie will beat him to death long before.
Palmetto Cass wants to know how you come up with the name of Bill of Rights.
That's kind of an weird story in itself because, probably back in 2015-ish and 14, I was really into studying American history and I've always been a big fan of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights because I think the Bill of Rights are probably the strongest thing for freedom that we have.
Yes, sir.
Protecting our Second Amendment rights and our First Amendment rights are a huge thing to keep freedom. So I wanted to, when anybody saw anything to do with, on as much as possible to see them, the Bill of Rights and them come to their mind and or at least think about it, and right. So I named it Bill of Rights because I honestly thought that I might even do political, videos at that time. But I started getting into watching DUIs and because DUIs, I think, help everybody, save money, as far as fixing a car and this and that and the other. So I'd posted a lot of those type videos in the past but I decided not to get political because I didn't want to put myself in a box like that, because I wanted to do the other types of videos too. And I figured the country stuff will take care of itself anyway. So, but I'm a big fan of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and I'll always defend them.
Thank you for that. You see James, didn't you, Lyle?
James?
He's trying to be a good boy today, but he's getting trash talked on here.
Yeah, he is never a good. The only time he's good is when Katie's got a headlock on him, pounding the top of his head. And if that goes on long enough, he'll look like Chad and I. So,
yeah, I got that fading going on. It's fading on back.
Yeah, well, it won't be. If it works out like it did for me, it'll fade out. And
bad thing about it is still don't let go. It just grows on down the back.
I'll tell you what upsets me worse than anything is it's the same price to get your hair cut if you got a whole lot if you ain't got none.
They don't charge you no different, do they?
They don't give you no slack because you don't have much. It's still the same price.
You getting some new subscribers there, Mark. Now
we have a message for Angelia Christensen. Do you have a niece by that name, Mark?
Mark, it's Angie.
Oh, my cousin Angie. My niece Angie. Yeah.
She says my Uncle Mark is the best fisherman I know. And that's quite a compliment from a young lady like that.
Well, I appreciate it, Angie.
Tonight, Angie.
She's a sweet gal.
She evidently is. I'm glad to see stuff like it. It's really nice to see family follow someone around, like that young lady is following you on our show tonight, which, of course, we're so proud to have you on here. And she stepped up to watch that, and it's awesome for her to post up on here. She's proud of her uncle, and that's really, to me, that's a neat deal right there.
Yeah. Love seeing family come in and support each other like that. It's amazing, and I love seeing it too. And John Patrick, by the way, yes. I don't have to worry about cold toilet seats no more because of the hair. I'll just leave it at that. Let's not go there. See, Lyle, you ain't the only one that catches a little bit of it.
Yeah, you know what? I told some guys the other night when they messaged me, and they thought they might have made me mad because they'd been on me pretty hard online. And you know what? I've dished it out for years, and I learned something a long time ago. If you can't take it, don't ever dish it out. And I can dish it out, and I can take it. So just keep her coming, fellas. I mean, that's okay with me.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, I've always been like that.
Martin, does your wife ever fish with you?
Not really.
Yeah, mine don't either.
You know, it's like I'd have to drag her by. You know, there's no way I'd have to beat her with a stick and drag her out there. I don't. She's a city girl.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have taken her hunting, and that was scary. So I don't do either anymore.
I'm gonna tell you something now. I taught Cindy how to shoot. She got really good at it, and when you see how good they can get, it makes you think about what you're doing. You know, I used to go shopping with my brother. He worked at a gun store, and I'd go up there on weekends and buy 1, 2, maybe 3 guns at a time. And she finds them other 2 behind the seat of the truck that she ain't supposed to have, and you get to thinking about, man, I should have taught her how to shoot that good. Makes you wonder if you should have done it at all.
And then you taught her how to shoot. Then you took her hunting.
Oh yeah.
See, that might be asking for disaster right there.
Yeah, we've
be very sweet to her that morning.
I tried to teach her how to shoot trap because for a long time I shot a lot of registered trap, but she is left eye dominant and shoots right-handed. And she'd lean over to stock. It wasn't that she couldn't hit the targets. It's just that I couldn't deal with it. That she needed to go to an instructor. I was not an instructor, but yeah, she'd lean her head over and shoot with her left eye, holding the gun with her right hand. And I never seen anybody do that. It would confuse the hell out of me. But she could bust them targets, But she picked up a guy's $6,000 Perazzi one night and just started grinding them. I said, that's it. I can't afford that. This was back in the late 70s or early 80s. And I said, I can't afford a gun like that. She's done shooting.
Now, you prefer night fishing or you prefer early morning fishing? Do you go deep when you choose one or the other, or what helps you make that decision whether you're going to fish ledges or channels or run back up in them shallows besides your boat size?
Well, obviously the water temperature, I think, drives them a little deeper, when they're looking for comfort. But I noticed that, here in Oklahoma, they tend to stay shallower than they do in the Tennessee River area, because I've always caught fish in around 10 foot of water. I've caught a few in 20 foot, but I like to, like in the wintertime, how the water's shallow, in the shallow areas, it warms up so much better. That's when I was catching good sized fish, up in that creek that I had been fishing quite a while, and had a lot of good luck during February, and a little bit and this is before I learned the system there. I'd wasted a lot of time fishing other areas until I'd learned that. So I've kind of I'm learning that I have to adjust to the temperature of the water, and plus the spawn and all these other things. So I'm a newcomer, like a lot of people. A lot of people don't realize I'm just some guy that just went and bought some rods and started fishing about 3 years ago. But I do a lot of it now. So I'm fishing twice a week, almost year round. So I'm starting to just learn my patterns for a year, starting now, because I wasted a lot of time fishing last year, just, fishing wherever and spending a lot of 13-hour nights not catching anything. So now I'm starting to look at the channels and, because I've learned this a lot from like watching other YouTube channels too. So, Kayak Catfish, he's good about dropping, a lot of people tell you to sit on the edges of the drop offs into main channels, and you can either suspend fish in them, but I'd like to spread out as many rods as I can myself. So I just go and like right now, I'm trying to figure out a pattern for catching bigger fish that may be deeper than I'm used to fishing now. So I'm going to start doing a little bit more of that in the next month or so. But I'm probably going to start slowly moving back to the creeks again, the shallow water, come fall, just because I think here in Oklahoma that produces better for me.
Did it kind of blow your mind the first time you caught a fish up there in 3 and 4 foot of water in February or January in that cold water?
Yes, it did.
It
I
blew my
avoided
mind.
that. I avoided that shallow water because I just thought there's no way a fish is going to be over there. And then I finally moved over there, and bam, it just started happening. So yeah, it's amazing where them things will be. I've caught them in the back of little coves and 3 foot of water, and I think, why would he be here? But they're there.
Well, my thinking, and Lyle, you might can say yay or nay on this, is that if you'll notice, the belly of a fish is white and his back is dark. He get up in that shallow water right underneath the surface of the water. That sun might not be heating that water up fast, but I think it heats him up faster.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense.
Absorbing that heat.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a couple of things about shallow water fishing. I find if the big fish are up there, it's because the bait fish are up there or because of the warmth of water. And that especially holds true in late fall, winter, and early spring, because when the bait run up there, they're going up there to eat and to warm up, and the other fish are following them up there to get a snack.
Yeah.
Did I cover this right here, Chris? I don't want to butcher your last name. He said the only gripe he has about YouTube catfishing channel is that it seems like most of them cater to fishing from a boat. Chris, we have a lot of guys on here that boat fish and bank fish. I am one of them. I've got boats, but I love bank fishing. And Mark also bank fishes a lot. He's got boats. So a lot of this information we give out can be used both from the boat and from the bank. The shallow water, a lot of times when we're bank fishing, a lot of people throw as hard as they can when they might be just need to pitch it right off of the edge of the shore. And that's where a lot of your fish, your big fish, I've caught big fish 2 or 3 foot right off the bank.
Yeah.
So,
that's exactly
I'm actually
right.
wanting to do more bank fishing myself because I like the freedom of not towing that boat and doing all that work that comes with having a boat. So I'm going to start looking for more places to fish off the bank, but I want to also find quality fish too. So I'm in that process of kind of looking, that's what I use Google Earth for, is try to find bank fishing spots that are not pounded to death by 100 other guys with around me. But I'm gonna try to find me some. I like bank fishing. I love setting up my rods in about 5 or 6 in a row there and watching them things, So it's just as fun as in a boat. I guarantee you.
To me, go ahead, Lyle.
I would like to mention also on that line, Chris, that if you get a chance to catch Elstan Perez, Chunky Cat Fishing Live, he's always on the bank. And 812 Catfishing does a lot of bank fishing videos also. So it's gaining more popularity. It's kind of coming back to us, or it had once left us, and I will agree that it had. So that gives you a couple of guys to check out so you can see how that works out. And Kevin, I understand. I wondered about that, if that wasn't what was blowing your bait fish around this morning. And Chad, I'm sorry. I know it would be fun if I took away Dockery's wrench, but I can't do that. He would whine so bad, Katie would have to turn him over and paddle his little behind, and we're not going to make her go through all that.
Chris said his grandpa always hardly ever cast over 25 or 30 yards from the bank.
The man knew what he was doing, didn't he?
Yep. Yeah. Well, you figure, what was that, January? I caught that 35 pounder, and it was probably 15 foot off the bank.
Yep.
But check your navionics, because a lot of times I got that spot right there on Lake Wiley, guys, that the river channel ain't but about 30 foot off of the bank. You got lay downs, you got all kind of structure. pay attention to your navionics, guys. That spot is perfect for bait fishermen. Perfect. You can hit the river channel. You can hit the shallows. You got structure. You got everything right there in that spot that it can be a pothole. Really.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. And Chad, I know that he won't put me on the list for the bait cooler, but I won't do him that way. I'm being the better person here. I know, Cindy, you're finding that hard to believe, but I'm trying.
Hey, Lyle,
Sir.
why don't you roll up a set of numbers and let's give a set of these bobbers away?
Give me just a minute. You and Mark carry on. I'll get it done.
2 orange ones. It's got blue lights on them. They made up a little bit of the older style because they do have the green center because I guess you can see the hole in it. And I went to all black caps with them. So they perfect. Got the lights on them. So we'll reel them up and get some numbers, get the people out there that might not have a set of them.
I don't.
I got a set for you, Mark.
You
You
would
send me your address.
You would love them. They're extremely well made.
I can tell by looking at them, especially with that little light. I think that's cool.
That's the lightning bug lights that Tracy put, the ones you put on the end of your rod that's in the tubing. That's what the lights are.
Yeah.
Mark, if you would pick me out a number between 1 and 5, we'll see who we're going to draw out of here.
5.
5, 1.
My favorite number.
That's
His
1,
favorite number.
2. 3. It's a little slow tonight. 4. 5. And the winner is Mr. Gadget Fishing.
Congratulations, Mr. Gadget. Message me or text me with your address and your real name, and we'll get these out to you in the mail probably by tomorrow.
Congratulations, and thanks for watching Catfish Weekly, Fishing with the Shad. Thank you so much, buddy. We appreciate that very much.
Mark, you want to tell us a little bit about your channel, where they can find you on YouTube, and I don't know if you do Facebook or not, but tell everybody how they can find you if they want to look you up. And
well, I do have a what is it? Instagram page. I have my I go out and do all the picture taking, and my wife posts them for me. Of course, you'll find me at BOR Fishing on YouTube, and I will in the future have a was it Facebook? Yeah, Facebook for the channel too, but Forcebook. Me and wifey haven't really ever had a Facebook account. You know, we just kind of like being secretive. So
you can just do one for your fishing page, and that helps get your name out there and maybe bring you a few more subscribers and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Mark, anytime that you have videos that you want to post and get out to a few people, you're welcome to post them on Catfish Weekly's public page. We got tons of people that do already, and they do it weekly, and we reach a pretty wide variety of people. So you're welcome to share that on there, so you can get that information out to a few more people to get you some more subscribers and more viewers on your YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that. I'll look into doing that, and I want to thank all these guys and gals on this chat room over here, because I run into them a lot when I come in, you know, just viewing with them, and say hi, guys. Hey,
there are a lot.
I ain't gonna name any names because then I'd have to name 50 of them. So.
That's right. You know, they come in early, they stay late, and we're gonna get our interview with Mark here in just a few minutes. But the rest of you guys that are watching the show, be sure to hang around. Don't just jump off yet.
Yeah. I got one last question for you, Mark. And you can give me the answer or not. Tell me it's none of my business. The song that you use on your videos, I seen the wife was watching a movie one day on her tablet, and I said, I know that song. That's on Mark's videos. I know that song. How do you keep from getting a copyright strike?
That song comes on. It's in my playlist on Filmora 9, my editing software. So it's one that come with my editing software. I can use it, and I always do. So if you have like Wondershare or Filmora 9 or Filmora editing software, they come with like 30 different types of music, songs and music that come with them that you can play in your videos. And then I went and got a bunch of free ones on YouTube, but that particular one happens to be one provided by Wondershare.
Right. Okay. Because I know it was on a movie, and I thought, how in the world is he doing that? And the answer is, Mr. Gadget, you can text me at 704-600-8369, 704-600-8369, and we'll take care of it for you, my friend. Yeah, I always wondered that. I thought, man, she was sitting there watching that movie, watching some movie. I forget what it was. And that song popped up. As soon as it started, I recognized it right off the bat. And I thought, how's he getting away with that? I want to know, how's he getting away with that?
Yeah, because I've got in trouble for that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what that movie was, because, I'm surprised that it's out there. I haven't heard it anywhere, but, on in my playlist, but it's a really good song. I really enjoy it. So.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I'll ask her and see if she can remember. It's been a while back, so now whether she can or not, I don't know. But I'll see if she can remember which one it was.
Chris, I'll explain this. We have a way of popping all the people that are in chat. Now, to be in chat, you have to be a subscriber to Catfish Weekly. And there's a deal in the chat where I can pop out everybody's name that's a subscriber, and then I take and copy them and paste them in random.org, and then we pick a number and we rotate it that many times, and whoever's name comes out number one on the list, that's who win the prize. I hope that explains that to you. On how we do that. It's very basic and very simple. If it wasn't extremely simple, I probably couldn't do it. I'd have to have some help, but that's how it works. And it just, the chat has a deal that just pops out all the names, and I just copy them and paste them and put them in random.org. And that's how that works. James Dockery, I did get in trouble for using a song one day, and I used the whole song, just the beginning of it. And, I've had several videos demonetized for, playing music in them, just because I used to, when I was sitting on the bank on, my Bird Creek videos, I'd be sitting there listening to my regular radio station real light, but somebody'd pick it up, and next thing you know, I'm demonetized. Yeah, that's exactly what they do. And not only did I get reprimanded from that, I had a couple little gals that got pretty upset with me over that song. But you know what? It's all in fun, and I would never do anything to really make those women mad just because they're short. I wouldn't.
Oh, yeah, I know the one you're talking about now.
Well, I'm sitting in the other room. She don't like that song, and a couple of them heard it. They don't like it either, and you know what? It was meant for fun, and I would never intentionally do anything to make it bad.
That algorithm, they set out algorithm for copyright strikes and stuff like that, can pick up the first two notes of a song.
Yeah.
And it will already start labeling it as a copyright strike.
It is. I want to welcome Lisa Haraway into the show, and everybody else that's in here. I cannot type on my keyboard won't work for whatever reason. I don't know if the batteries are dead in it or whether it just took a dump. But I can't type and say anything in chat. So you guys, James Docker, he's having his way with me, and there's nothing I can do about it. Right? So KMB doesn't hit the song. He knows what it is.
I see it.
Mark, thank you so much for joining the show. we would love to have you back on one of these days if you would be interested and see how things are going with your fishing. And if you get your boat going, your bigger boat, let me know. And we'd like to have you on here do a walk around with it.
Hey,
Yes.
it's been a pleasure being in. You just call me anytime and I'll come on.
Well, thank you.
Y'all two out there need to go fishing.
Yeah, we're too close together not to fish. What part of Oklahoma are you from?
I'm in the Tulsa area. So
Well, that's only what from the border of Missouri. How far is that?
about 60, 70 miles, I guess. 60
Yeah,
miles.
see, I'm Buffalo. I'm just an hour and a half from Joplin, so yeah, we're not that far away. We need to get together sometime and drown some bait.
I think we can do that pretty good, couldn't we?
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? If we catch some fish, it's just a bonus.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much, Mark, for being a part of our show tonight.
I enjoyed it. I appreciate it having me
All
on.
right,
Thanks.
Thank you, my American brother. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, James Smith.
Yes, sir.
You've been helping me out with co-hosting for some time, different things, and been on here. And I know I had got several messages about you being a part of our show, and people thought that we got along really well together, and that we had the same views on a bunch of stuff. And evidently, you probably have had the same thing.
Yes, sir.
Because it just kind of worked out that way. I don't know. I may have something going on with my.
Mark signed out, but you hadn't signed him out. There you go.
There we go. So, you know, you and I talked about this quite a little bit, and I agree with those people that think that we get along pretty well. I think the other way's better, don't you?
That worked.
Yeah, and you know, I'm going. If you're interested, and we've talked about this before, but let's just tell everybody that on Monday nights you're going to be in here with me. And,
Yes, sir.
and I think that's going to work out really well for Catfish Weekly. And we're going to have some people from out your way be guests that you're more familiar with than I am. And I'm good with that. And we're going to have people from the rest of the country that I know or have dealt with. And I think that it's going to make for a great deal of entertainment for not only you and I, but for the viewers that watch our show. So,
yes, sir. It makes me proud to be part of this show. You've done so much work for the catfish community, and it's only right for me to say I'm proud to join you. I'm proud to be one of the ones that's going to help keep Catfish Weekly up and running. I want to see it go on till way past me and you gone.
Exactly. You know, and I always had visions of my kids being involved with it, but you know, they got kids of their own and they got things that they have to do. And right now it's not in the plans for any of them to ever do it. And you know, at some point I wanted to do it till I was 65, and health issues may or may not allow that. And if they don't, that's okay. I'm ready for things like that to take place. And if they do, that's awesome. But I want somebody that can do it. You've been doing your show on Wednesday nights for a long time, and that's not going to go away.
Nope.
Go away. And you and I have had an agreement for some time standing that if something happened that I couldn't do a show on Monday night, I could call you up and you would step in and you would do Catfish Weekly for me. In return, if something happened where you couldn't do Patriot Catfishers of America on Wednesday night, I would do the same for you. So it's not like we haven't actually thought about some of this stuff for some time.
I see you, Chad. Yeah.
You must have seen the sheds.
Yeah. Well, guys, I do appreciate the congratulations. Me and Lyle's talked a lot, got closer for probably close to a year now that we've been talking off and on the phone and stuff. And we have become good friends, even though we haven't shaken hands yet. That day will come.
Yep.
But, you know, I wanted to be able to add to this show, not take away from it. I will still be doing my show. That's why I was kind of dropping a few hints to y'all Wednesday night that I'm going to be making some changes to my show. I will still be bringing a few people in here and there, but I do want to open up chat rooms, what I was talking about, for y'all to come in there and enjoy yourself and talk a lot of BS, congratulate each other on their big fish or no fish or whatever. I will rely a lot on my blue wrenches to take care of not allowing it to get out of hand. But I appreciate the opportunity to join in with you. It's an honor.
Well, we're going to have a lot of fun, and we may bring back some of the stuff that we used to do on Catfish Weekly. We may bring some new stuff into the show. It's going to depend on how things roll. And I got to tell you, James, and some of you know this and some of you don't, because I don't talk a lot of personal stuff. But this stuff that I got a hold of me last week, this whatever it is that got on cellulitis, that stuff nearly took me down. I never heard of it before, never had anything like that happen to me. And I've been concerned about a spot on my lung for some time. It's really just been bothering me a lot, and it hadn't changed in 3 months. So I'm going to be doing that every 3 months to see how that goes. But this cellulitis, not only is it painful, it's a pain in the ass. I'm going to tell you straight up. I mean, you can't walk, you can't talk, there is nothing you can do that it don't bother you. And I had some really good people, and they put some IVs in me and filled them full of antibiotics. And we was at the doctor's office and a couple of hospitals for a few days and got this all straightened out. And after, I don't know, several days, I'm starting to feel a little bit better, and the swelling has went down. But it was just miserable. It really was. And Cindy said I whined a lot. Yeah, I probably did.
She said something about you might be able to dance a jig once you get better.
Well, I'm sure she would like to do that. And if it would make her happy, that's what we'll do. I've been extremely fortunate my whole life, James. Whatever I wanted to do or whatever ventures I wanted to do, Cindy would always go along with, even some of them that she probably shouldn't have. So if she wants to go dance a jig, let's go dance one, and we'll call it a day.
You daggum right. That's, you know, I'm like you. I'm proud to call my wife my wife. She's put up with me for over 30 years now, and you and Cindy's over 30 years. And
over 40.
Over 40. Well, congratulations.
43. And yeah, we'll be 44 next month.
Well, congratulations. And, you know, guys and gals, you know, don't take your relationships lightly. It's an investment of your time and your heart, and to find the right one that can put up with your junk, your little hobbies and your little knickknacks or whatever.
Yep.
You better hold on to him. And Lyle, he's got him one that fishes with him, outfishes him most of the time.
We have a deal, like I was talking a while ago. I used to go fishing a lot by myself. It was very calm and relaxing. And yes. As I've got older, the kids and Cindy don't want me fishing. And you can ask Cindy, if the boat moves, she's going to be in it. So if we take yes, they got to understand she gets her seat and you get what's left.
There you go.
We took Luke from up north out with the Luke Hinges one time, and she beat him to the fishing rod. I told her them was her rods. It was the funniest thing you ever seen, because Luke, he didn't know what to say. She just drilled him. But, you know, we have a lot of fun together fishing. We know what each other one's going to do. And anybody that's had an extended partner for any length of time, they learn that. You know, Doc and I fished together, and Cindy, and Doc was real easy to fish with because he was on the same wavelength as we were on what we wanted to do. And we went over a few things at the beginning of the day, and that was the end of it. It worked out very well for us. And there's been a few other people, but there's been some people that I fished with. Honest to God, they was terrible to fish with because you would explain to them how you wanted to do it, and they didn't no comprende. You know, and that's okay. You just go on and have a good time the best you can and go on. But Cindy and I do get along pretty good in the boat. She barks out the orders, and I follow just like a private in distress.
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. No excuse, ma'am.
Yeah, that's not exactly how it happens, but you know what I mean. We get along. You know, we have our times like everybody does, but she's very one of the most qualified people I ever fished with, and she's fished her whole life. But this tournament stuff really makes her shine because she's really good at it. And
right.
I'm glad.
And I kind of brought that up as a conclusion that I think that this is going to work with me and you because we do get along. We have a lot of stuff that we think alike about, not just fishing, but as in the world as a whole.
That's right.
And I think that we can work together, and you're open enough and I'm open enough. If I make a suggestion, not a suggestion, but I say, hey, what do you think about this? You're open enough and I'm open enough to say, nah, that ain't going to work. Or, yeah, that'd be a cool idea. That goes a long way.
It does.
When two people can come together without worrying about bickering or worrying about stepping on toes or hurting feelings, but can come straight out and say, look, James, that idea sucks.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I want. Straight to my face with the truth. And that's what I'm going to give you too. And hopefully we can meet in the middle, and it'll be a great idea that will benefit not just you and I, but also our subscribers and our supporters. Because without our subscribers and our supporters, Law, there is no Catfish Weekly. There is no Patriot Catfishers of America Talk Show.
That's exactly right. Now, James, there's one other thing that I'd like to mention before we get out of here tonight.
Yes, sir.
There is something that's just popped up in the last day or so that I'm extremely excited about. The Chad and the D come up with this, and it's called the YouTube Couples Tournament. The details are not worked out. If you're interested in that, contact Chad or D, or they can tell you more about it because I'm not sure how much is going to be let out, how much is in done deal and how much is not deal. But this is going to be an extremely fun tournament where couples that are YouTube people fish against one another, and it'll be a live deal. They're talking about making it 2 days. I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to be way too much fun, and I really can't wait for this to take place. And I think it's going to take place either in September or October. So everybody,
that'd be good.
Yeah, everybody stay tuned into this. If you're interested in it, get a hold of Chad, and find out about it. And the D can too. She can tell you more about it than I can because, like I say, I'm just getting involved with this. But it looks like more fun than the law should allow, and I'm pretty excited about it. So,
well, I might be able to talk to wife. She don't catfish with me, but I might be able to talk her into something like that. Now, I'll have to take her to a lake that's not known for catfish of any size, but I know there are a few in there swimming around, so I might get lucky and put a good one on the boat. But she likes that waters. It's a calm water. There ain't a whole lot of boat traffic. It stirs you up. She don't really have her sea legs, so that Lake Wiley would be out of the question. Well, but that's fine. It's just time on the water with my wife would be, that's my reward.
Well, James, unless something changes, this one's not going to be a tournament for big weights.
Right.
It's going to be for most fish caught.
Okay.
And that makes it a little easier. Since there's no money to be passed around and stuff like that, it's going to make it a little easier for people to compete, which I think will be a lot of fun.
Yes.
I'm not sure they know how many fish I can put in a boat on Lake Ozark. in a day.
Yeah. Well, this lake is known for, it's got a lot of hybrids in there, but it does have a lot of channel cats in there. So,
Ace, if you want to borrow Cindy, that's up to Cindy. You're going to have to talk to her about it. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you've got a fish finder in that and she tells you to go shallow, you better head your butt on over there where the 3-foot water is.
there you go.
But
There
she
you
was
go.
a great partner. I'd hate to give her up, though. But, I really think this is going to be a lot of fun, and I think we'll all enjoy it. And I wanted to reach out. So I'm looking forward to this. James, thank you so much for agreeing to do it. And for everybody watching our show, we'll see you next Monday night here on Catfish Weekly. We're looking at a really cool guy to see if we can get him on the show for next week. Be a lot of fun. James knows him really well, so we'll see if we can make that happen. And if not, it'll be me and him, and we'll talk about something.
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy.
Wow, it's an honor. Thank you, everybody, for coming in, and we'll see y'all Wednesday night.
Patriot Catfishers of America, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern.
Say good night, everybody.